I love it. Everybody wants everybody wants their chart done. No matter, I don't believe in it. Yeah, right. But show me. Yeah, prove me. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, okay. So when I did this, let me do this. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do a progression. I go up here, and you see where it says display right here? Can you all see this up here? Display? I hit display. Now there's two things. You see a transit biwheel. Do you all see it? Transit biwheel? How many of you see that? Okay, we're going to make sure you do. I must have run this battery down again. I do it every time. Forget to turn it on, off. Okay, we got the transit biwheel, which is right now, it says. We got the progress biwheel, which is also for right now. Okay, so all I have to do is click on that. Watch this. This is what you all should have. It's so easy. I'm going to let's find out where transit Mars is. Transit Saturn is. That's all I care about. I'm teaching you what I do and what works. I'm not going to tell you how to do your astrology. I'm not going to tell you what to use and what not to use. I'll tell you what I do, and if it works for you, fine. If it works for me, it's worked for me to the tune of many years. Very successfully. So if I hit this transit biwheel, I get another wheel. And outside of this natal chart, the birth chart right here, is Saturn sitting right there. And it's at 28 degrees Scorpio. And guess what does that 28 degrees Scorpio do in that chart? It's exactly almost within a degree of opposition to what? Mars. That's triggering his T-cross, isn't it? You see what I'm getting at? Now, how do you know whether it's in orb of that or not? I use 2 degrees applying and 1 degree separating. This is still separating by 1 degree. So the last couple months, it's been really triggering that opposition. So it's not, if it's at 28 and Pluto in his chart is at 24, that's 4 degrees apart. You say, well, Ron, that's too wide an orb. No, it's not, because if one planet on this cross is hit, all of them get triggered, because that's the message of the chart, Mars squaring Pluto. Okay, and opposing Saturn here. So this is at 20, and this is 28. You say, well, that's 8 degrees away. That's a long way away. How do you know it's still affecting it? Because it's affecting one planet on that cross. So I know that for the last 10 months or a year, he's had a lot of problems, a lot of issues. And moreover, I know right now, with Mars square Pluto and Saturn, what do you think Mars square Pluto and Saturn could do? Anybody have any idea what those planets mean? Huh? They're very strong, aren't they? They're angular, right? Huh? Good. He's the manager. And he's dealing with putting fires out all the time. I go over there and sit with him for hours sometime, and we commiserate about all the stuff that's going on in his life, you know. And he's trying to manage this restaurant and another one up here in Boga, and he's got to fire people all the time, and it's like there's all sorts of problems. Guys come in drunk, or not drunk, but drugged with drugs, and there's all issues, and these are people he's got to fire, which is a dangerous thing, Yeah, So, I always tell him, I've been telling him particularly now, I say, you be careful. But he's a very diplomatic guy. And he makes people comfortable with their firing, getting fired. He's very good. He's a very smart and very savvy guy. But I still worry about him, because I love him. It's like a brother to me. So, now look at this. What does Pluto mean? What is one meaning for Pluto? Death. Good for you. Julie, you're on top of it. Death. Of course it is. Pluto. It's life and death, isn't it? Ooh. And it's right on his what?
Ascendant.
Good. Right. You're all talking right. You're right on the ascendant. What does that mean? Death can do what to him? It could. It could also.
The physical body, or change his appearance.
Well, here's the thing. It means it impacts him personally. Okay? And it could be physical to him. All right? Exactly. So my thing was, you know, my concern is one thing I say, you know, as a man, I look at it, I say, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, you know, you know, make sure, you know, if you go to the doctor, make sure your prostrate's okay. That rules that area. Huh? Scorp, good for you. Boy, you guys are good. Tell me you are learning something. Tell me you guys are learning something. Look at this. Yeah, you got the Scorpio, you got the Pluto, all this stuff, right? Now, but more importantly, yeah.
Does that also mean that he could be prone to STDs?
What?
To STDs?
If he wasn't a happy married guy, yeah. Yeah. But, you know, very good for you. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Very true.
Could be
Now,
other parts of the reproductive system. He's only
Yeah.
30 or so. He just had a Saturn return.
who's only 30? No.
Isn't it Saturn?
No, he's born in 1950. Yeah, second time around.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, that he's just asking.
Now, what is interesting what she's saying, Saturn takes 28 years to go through a chart. She's saying, she thought for a minute he was about 30 because it's right there. Saturn's back to itself again. It's back down here, 28 degrees, which means it's past itself. But in this case, it passed it twice because he's about 52 or 3. So the point being, and it's a fast moon. What does that mean? The average motion of the moon, the traffic speed of that progressed moon, is roughly about, they say, a mean motion about 12 degrees a year. Okay? Is that right? 12 degrees a year. Here's the thing, it doesn't always move 12. It might be moving 14. It might be going as slow as 8 or 9. In this case, because it's hit there before he's 56 years old, transit Saturn, when he was born, Saturn started out here, went 28 years, normally it'd be right here. But it hit here early because it's a fast moon. It was moving about 14. It went through another cycle, so it got back here. So if he's born in 55, how old is he?
He's 60, but it depends on when his birthday is, so he's 59.
Yeah. So it, you know, 50, what I'm saying is it got here. Yeah, roughly whatever. But the point is, she knows that because she's dealt with this transit Saturn. But you get used to using Saturn, you're going to understand its motion. You say, oh, it takes 28 years to go through that chart. Now, why am I spending so much time on this whole subject? I talked to him, I did his chart Thursday 2 weeks ago. And I sat down with him and I was really concerned. And I don't like to do that because he's a friend of mine, I hate to bring bad news. But I said, you know, you got a real afflicted chart right now. You have 2 witnesses. Oh, what's the other witness? What's the other witness? We did Saturn, that's one of them. What's the other one? Huh? Progress moon. Good, that's the second thing. That's all I'm going to teach you. How to read charts and how to predict things. The second thing, progress moon. So let's go back up here, go to display, and let's go to progress biwheel. I'm going to hit the progress biwheel. You all with me here? See why I want you to have this program? Because you can get these information instantly. What's that now, hon?
The new moon also, this month.
Yeah, exactly. Where did it hit? Who said that? Oh, good for you. Exactly. Tell me where it hit.
21 Leo.
Exactly. That's the other thing I was going to put in here. So that the new moon this month, which was about the 14th, I think, of this month, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, 14th, right? It hit exactly on top of this cross. Now we got 2 witnesses. We got the new moon, and we have transit Saturn. Remember I said there's only 3 things I'm going to teach you to use. And these will be like unbelievably accurate if you use them. The third one is this one, the progress moon.
Progress moon and Saturn and what?
New moon.
Oh, new moon.
New moons are a shadow of what? Things to come. Okay, so I was particularly concerned when I saw the 14th a couple of weeks ago, you know, that it hit and it was sitting on the same cross. Because if that, but notice the progress moon, it's at 18 Sag. And if you look at this chart, you say, well, it doesn't look like it's doing too much. It's trying the sun. It's trying, well, it's a wide orb, 18 but it's setting off a grand trine to Pluto's sun and the progressed moon down here. These are good aspects, okay? So this is the third thing. Now, let me just tell you, there is something else here. 18 Sag to 20 Cancer is a quincunx, 150-degree aspect. What did I get from all this? I said, this is what I told him. I said, somehow there's going to be death around you. And you be careful about people that get fired, and you be careful with the person that runs that other and owns that other restaurant, who's got a very quick temper and really can go down on people so hard, because she could even be a victim if she's not careful. But he's the diplomat of diplomats. Why? You know, it's just who he is. His whole chart is a peacemaker. But I said, death will be around you. Guess what happens? One of his best friends is the manager of the restaurant Boca Raton. He dies suddenly of an aneurysm. Just about a week or two weeks ago maybe. I told him one more thing. I said, you're going to be lifted up and you're going to shine and you're going to be given advantages because of these things. Why did I know that? Because Jupiter was being aspected, but more importantly, there was a trine to the sun, okay, from his progressed moon. A very nice trine, okay. This is the planet of authority and position. I knew something, so as it turns out, he's had to run both restaurants basically, and he's become, obviously the owner knows he's the gift of gifts, because without him they couldn't have hardly gone on. Now, I saw him 2 days ago, and I said, how is things going? He said, Ron, when did you give me my reading? I said, last Thursday. He said, well, yesterday my other best friend just committed suicide. Whew.
You know, I was going to say, with the Pluto part of that, it could be some sort of mental illness with Pluto.
For the person that killed himself, you mean?
Well, for the reason of the death that he...
Well, very good. Let me tell you, I like that. Let me tell you why. I guess it's all right to share this. The guy that killed himself was gay, and he managed one of the restaurants. And Sylvester's known him for years. He's a good friend of his. His lover, a year ago maybe, I'm not sure how long ago, killed himself.
Wow.
And when he killed himself, he bought a house for this young guy in his hometown where he was born. He wanted him to have his own home. He bought him a home. And he's been grieving ever since, this guy, over this. And he ends up taking his own life just last week. So the message I'm getting to you is, you know, and Silvestros is amazed, because he says, well, you know, Ron, how does this stuff work, you know? It works because I understand the language. I understand what it's trying to message it's trying to give to me. And you say, well, this is a very bizarre example of how it works. But I just want you to understand it, what you have in your hands. You have a marvelous tool. Now, do you think when I went there, I went there, I didn't say, Jesus, you know, I see death in your life. I see death. I see death affecting him somehow. I'm careful the way I do it, you know. Now, here's the other thing that happened when I'm talking to him. He says, Ron, he says, I got to tell you something. He said, 3 nights ago or 4 nights ago, he said, I was driving home and I fell asleep at the wheel. And I just woke up in time to keep from crashing my car. See, what's Mars do? Saturn. Yeah, you got it. And you know, all that was going on in his life all over this period. And you know, once you start realizing the power of these aspects, you know, how they impact us, you're going to start getting amazing views of people's lives. You can go back and look at your own life and your own events. I mean, I remember when my progressed moon in my chart opposed my Uranus in my chart. Uranus in my chart's not badly afflicted. It's pretty nice. It's actually in good aspects. There's nothing major to it. But I was in Mexico. I don't know if I shared this with you. And Kennedy was assassinated. And if I wrote my life story, it would read like my wife wanted to have a movie made with my life. She said, I said, nobody believe it. I mean, it's too, nobody believe it. But I was in Mexico when Kennedy got assassinated, and I happened to be selling guns over the border. And I was involved in some very nefarious bad things. And of course, what happened was my girlfriend, I broke up with her, and beautiful girl, Blanca. Anyway, I broke up with her, and she got drunk that night and started telling somebody at the bar about what I was doing. Next thing you know, the police were knocking on my door. Well, they didn't just come in to get me because of selling guns. They thought I had something to do with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. True story, true story. They took me out in the desert. They took four of them. They came in, robbed me, took everything I had. And the girlfriend I was with took her down, and I don't know what they do to those girls is awful. But anyway, including Blanca, who told on me, because she was brought out to confront me, is this the guy that, and she denied it. And they took her back and tortured her, and they raped her and did everything else to her. But then they took me to the desert, and they tied a rag around my towel. I had a beach towel in the back of my car. They stole my car. They took everything from me. They took my beach towel, put it around my head, pushed my head down between the two back detectives, big guys. Two in the front, two in the back. I'm in between, my head pushed down between my knees with a towel wrapped around my face. They took me out in the desert, and they dragged me out. They shot a .45 by my head. I thought I had been shot right by my ear. Then they put me in the front seat of the car, stretched me out, and I was on the driver's side. My hands were handcuffed, and they put me stretched out on the front seat, and one of the detectives put his legs through my arms, and then the other two took off my pants, and then they proceeded to use a cattle prod on me to torture me and drop sand in my throat when I screamed, because the guy at the head was using the sand. Anyway, but that's electricity, isn't it? What's Uranus rule? Is that amazing? I mean, I looked at this after I got into astrology. I began to say, I wonder what happened, what caused that one, This is, my God. I was so happy I didn't get killed out there. The only reason I didn't kill me, I think, is that I had a little sign in my window of my car. It was a little kind of a gag little thing on my window. It said, official, big letters, real huge letters, official. And underneath it said, very teeny letters, it said U.S. taxpayer. It just was a little funny thing I had. And they thought I was somehow associated with somebody. I said, and I played along with that. I said, yeah, my father's a member of the city council of San Diego, which was a lie, But I mean, I knew I had to say something, or they could easily kill me out there. And they didn't kill me. Obviously, I'm here. But anyway, I don't know why I should tell. My wife says, don't tell those stories. But my life's a drama. Anyway, so where are we at? We're learning astrology. And what you're going to learn is there's predictive techniques. They're powerful, and they work. And you need to be careful how you do it when you talk to a person like this. Obviously, I saw there was some potential for death there. Okay, and if he hadn't told me that he almost died in a car wreck by falling asleep at the wheel just a few days before that, then I can go right zero in on it. Say, look, you got to be careful. There's danger to your life here. And I'm not sure how I would have approached that, because I don't like to tell people things that might set them up unconsciously, thinking I've got to have, I'm going to die or something. But this is still going on in this chart. When's the next new moon? September something, right? How many? Yeah, about another couple weeks, right? So the next new moon, if it falls, here's the thing, once you get used to using new moons in a chart, if you know where it falls, it fell right, where did you say it fell? Where?
It's 20 degrees for in
No, Leo, right?
the new moon for this.
Yeah.
21 degrees.
So it fell on the cross is all I'm trying to teach you. It fell on the cross. Okay, here's the thing. You tell me when you want to take a break.